Welcome to the 46th episode of the Mayor's Mixtape. I'm Haley Sue Robinson, Director of Public Affairs.
I'm Heather Graham, City of Pueblo Mayor.
I'm Brett Boston, at-large City Councilor.
Yeah, today we have a guest.
Not appointed.
Yes.
Yes, we have you here on the podcast as officially elected official. Thank you so much for joining us today, Councilor Boston.
My pleasure.
I'd like to remind the listener that we're available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts, and we're also on local channel 17. So there are lots of opportunities to listen to this podcast. Don't forget, if you have questions or you want to suggest a topic for Mayor Graham to cover, you can email us at mayor@pueblo.us. So, Councilor Boston, welcome to the podcast. We're excited to have you here.
Excited to be here.
You recently became the youngest elected official on City Council, as previously you were appointed and while serving the remainder actually of Mayor Graham's term when she vacated her seat on council to become the mayor. I think we'd like to help our listener get to know you a little bit. So tell us about yourself and why you decided to get involved and run for City Council.
Well, I'm just a Pueblo native. I'm just a kid that grew up here, never had any aspirations to get into politics. I just went to Centennial, went to CSU Pueblo, got a degree in business management and administration, tried my luck in a couple different fields, whether it was management, customer service, sales, things like that, and then ended up taking over the family business. When I took over the family business, it was shortly after COVID, and there was a new world that we were kind of entering into. And my business just so happened to be bordering property with a extended stay hotel. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was only 25. I had a lot of issues from this negligent business owner that were plaguing not only me, but my community and the side of town I grew up on. So I started trying to figure out ways to kind of combat the issue. I reached out to several city officials at the time and kind of didn't get any help. So I started reaching out to some mayoral candidates at the time that were running a lot of Facebook advertising because I wanted to put eyes on the story. I wanted people to be aware of the issues I and many of the other people in my neighborhood were facing. One of the candidates said that I was a great speaker and that he said I should present my issues to City Council. So I came with not only complaints, I came with evidence and potential solutions to combat this problem. That night, only two people cared to listen to what I had to say. One of them was former Councilor Sarah Martinez, and one of them was now Mayor Heather Graham. Mayor Graham reached out to me, and we had lunch. We talked about all my problems, come up with some possible solutions, and she ended up shutting down that negligent business that was right behind me her first day in office. And then that kind of sparked a catalyst event that had some new legislation created and kind of started holding more of those negligent business owners accountable for those extended stay hotels. And now I think we've had at least 3 of those get shut down due to malpractice. Mm-hmm. So at the time, like I said, I was only 25 when I met her and started speaking. And then when she got elected, I was 26 at the time, and I figured, if my voice was able to help fix these issues in my neighborhood and my ideas were able to help combat this problem, maybe I could continue to stay involved and help with other issues that I think are happening in the city. So I put my hat in the ring for the city council appointment. I did not get it the first time, but 2 months later or so, it came open again. I said, why not try one more time? What do I have to lose? And somehow I got an interview. And then I did a pretty good interview, I think. And then after much deliberation, I was appointed as the youngest city councilor ever. Fast forward 18 months, and now I think I'm the youngest elected city councilor ever as well. Mm-hmm. So here we are.
Yeah, I think it was important for folks to understand kind of the journey that got you here and how getting involved, coming to council, and then seeing some of your work come to fruition by working with elected officials is important. And it's also a similar path to Mayor Graham as far as being business owners and being unsatisfied or dissatisfied with
government.
Sure, yeah, and holding people accountable. And so I think it's great to have folks get involved. And you touched on something really important too, which is coming not only with complaints but with solutions. So I think that's important too. Mayor Graham, we had Councilor Hernandez just a couple of weeks ago, and I asked you to share some advice as a new counselor. We can't really count Councilor Boston as a new counselor, and I don't know that he necessarily needs advice with 18 months under his belt, but I think sharing the thing in common of both being young elected officials, maybe you can share with the listener and with Councilor Boston what it's like to be a young leader in the city.
What it's like to be a young leader. Well, everybody knows more than you, and everybody's way smarter than you, and everybody's done more than you, but that doesn't matter. So as long as you stay your path and just continue and always do what's right, regardless of what that might do to your reputation, regardless if you get reelected for doing what's right, I think it's just important that you stay the course.
I agree. My whole life I've kind of been, in and out of the family business. I've been a young leader. I've always been one of the younger ones in the room, and people always think they're smarter than you or they know more than you. But, we're in these positions for a reason. I think people trust us. I think people wanted change. I think they wanted the old guard gone, and they liked our fresh perspective, unique ideas. And, I think we see the potential of Pueblo, and we don't want to hold it down anymore.
Gosh, and restaurant experience gives you like a whole...
I think people don't
a whole new
understand
side. I think everybody needs to work in a restaurant at some point in their life.
all the different personalities,
Service.
conflict management. There's so many different problems you have to deal with on a day-to-day. People don't understand what it takes to run a successful restaurant, let alone 3.
I can't necessarily say that I've ever run a restaurant, but I do believe that most folks should work in the service industry, and restaurant experience is like none other.
Right.
Dealing with the public, to your point, Mayor Graham, about personalities with folks, back of house, front of house, all those things really help you understand conflict management, people management, in both your cases, I'm sure financial oversight, budgetary management. I think it's a valuable asset to be someone who has worked in restaurants. Yeah. Councilor Boston, as we move into 2026, do you have any goals for this year? And
How much time we got?
and maybe what you want to accomplish during the next 4 years?
Well, I'd say short-term goals. I think the biggest goal is to rebrand City Council first off. I think there was a lot of issues the last year on council between the administration or the way we portrayed ourselves to the public. So I kind of hope that we can rebrand as a council and kind of start working together as a group, together with the administration, together with community partners, together as a community as a whole. I think when we're at odds with each other and we're grandstanding for personal biases rather than what's right for Pueblo, we're kind of just holding the city back. So I hope we can kind of put our egos aside in a sense and just start working for the citizens and doing what's best for Pueblo. Also, economic development is a huge thing. We're going to be having a new economic development partner here soon. I'm excited to see what that may bring for us. I'm trying to bring new revenue to the city, new events to the city. We have a boathouse opening up not too far from here.
Yeah.
I hope to bring festivals to the Riverwalk with live music, open consumption zones, nice things like that. Just more events in Pueblo to get people to come down to Pueblo, stay in Pueblo, spend money in Pueblo. Anything we can do to help our budget shortfall by increasing revenue to the city is a good thing. Getting people here to support the local businesses, support the local events, the artists, things like that. That's going to be something I'm going to be trying to work hard on this year as well. Some other big things this year. We're going to try to do everything we can to impact public safety. We got hopefully a camera program coming up into the works here soon, where we're going to be targeting 2 high issue areas, being Northern Avenue and East 4th Street. We're going to try to get some cameras connected to the real-time crime center here soon. That's something I've been working on for a long time, and that's something about government is it does take time. And although people may think you haven't done much, sometimes it takes 12 to 24 months to get a project complete. Doesn't mean you're not working on it. I told the story the other day that My first week on council, I set out to get a handicap access ramp added to Allen Hamel for easier access on that path down to the Riverwalk for people in a wheelchair. And I just got confirmation about a month ago that it's going to happen. When it's going to happen, it might still take, another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, but it's going to happen. And it took 18 months to get that accomplished. Some other longer term goals that I think I have, we want to try to expand the tax base. We want to make Pueblo a destination for people that, want to live here, want to move here. So by doing that, we need to address public safety. We need to have, some better jobs. We need to get those, housing units built. Some other things that I really hope to accomplish that people may think is crazy is I want to bring regulated gambling to Pueblo. I don't want Pueblo to be a casino city, but I do want, maybe 2, 3, 5 at most casinos, all centrally located in the downtown area. That'll help revitalize downtown. I think it'll increase property values, it'll increase foot traffic, it'll increase tourism, and it just gives another reason for people to come and experience Pueblo. We already have so many great things down there, whether it be the Da Vinci Museum or all these other, great things we have. Why not one more good thing? How about, the Ferris wheel we always talk about, or a nice amphitheater, in the area. Just everybody not everybody, but a lot of kids that I went to school with, their first thing they wanted to do was get out of Pueblo.
Sure.
I know you were one of them that didn't. I have several friends that are now, emerging leaders in the community that didn't. I just think we need more kids that want to stay here after college or after high school. So those are some of the goals. I have a lot more. I could talk for hours probably about a lot of the goals I want to reach, but
those are exciting.
I think some of those are the bigger ones for sure.
Well, and they seem pretty comprehensive as well. I think one thing that's important for folks to understand is as an at-large counselor, you mentioned a couple areas of town, downtown, 4th Street, Northern, and that's who you represent. You represent the entire city. And so to me, it sounds like it's, comprehensive goals that encompass everyone. And I heard things that are great for adults. I heard things that are great for kids. So that's really thoughtful as well. That's awesome.
Yeah. Just anywhere that I can help, working with, whether it be the other city councilors, the administration, community partners. I think we need to take advantage of all those opportunities. Like you said, the whole city is where I represent. I'm here to, help any counselor, help any constituent, whether I agree or not with your idea. I'm always open to sit down and chat. If we can't come to agreement, we'll see if there's some sort of compromise we can get to, and move Pueblo forward in the best way. And whatever's best for the city is what I try to do.
Great. Well, you touched on something, compromise. And so, Mayor, I just wanted to ask, what are some of the things that you're looking to accomplish this year with the help of council, or that you're, potentially looking at on the horizon that may happen not outside of 2026 in the next couple of years?
I think that last year was, focused on economic development. There was a couple hurdles in last year for us to get to the point that we're at now. And so I'm looking forward, like Councilor Boston said, to be having more oversight over what we're doing with economic development, strategic planning when it comes to what kinds of businesses we're trying to bring to the community, how we're highlighting Pueblo. Last week I got to be part of a groundbreaking out at Puebloplex for 150 new jobs, and kudos to Puebloplex for attracting Voyager to come to our community. That's outstanding. And so I'm hoping to continue to work with our partners like Puebloplex and the Urban Renewal Authority. One of my big projects this year is building back Bessemer. So I hope that we see the Bessemer community change, and then we can replicate that change in other parts of our community that are needed. Like Councilor Latino's district, he also has similar issues as the District 4 representative. So I'm looking at revitalization, economic development, and making Pueblo the best place it can be to live.
Great. Councilor Boston, you also serve on quite a few boards or commissions. Can you talk a little bit about what those positions are and why they're important in your position as a city councilor?
Sure. We'll start off with PACOG. It's the Pueblo Area of Governments, or Council of Governments. That board, I actually got elected chair this last meeting. It's a very important board. If you talk to a lot of people don't know what it is or don't think it's a great use of time. But I think it's been a hugely underutilized asset. And we hope to change that this year. I think we have a great leadership team that got elected as officers, and we have a lot of new people coming onto that board that I think are excited and hungry to learn. Basically what that board works on is all of the CDOT issues in the area, so it's going to be a lot of your major transportation, highway, interstate projects, as well as any major community environmental issues.
Sure.
So, when you notice all these huge projects, besides the Highway 50B interchange, I don't really think that Pueblo has gotten the love that it deserves when it comes to the CDOT projects and the help we need. So we hope to really utilize the power of our MPO and our group to really get what Pueblo deserves and kind of start making sure that the money that needs to be allocated to Pueblo starts getting allocated to Pueblo, and we can kind of get past some of these issues that we've been dealing with, such as the issues on the boulevard. So hopefully with this new group, we can put our minds together and start moving that in the right direction. I also sit on Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority. I'm currently the ex officio member on there this year. We're going through some exciting changes. We're starting the process of hiring a new executive director. I believe we're reviewing applicants today, and by the end of the month, I believe we'll be having an executive director hired. So, and that's a huge community partner that we've been kind of working to put the pieces back together, figuring out where projects are standing. And once we get that all ironed out, I think this will be a huge asset to the community, because urban renewal can be a great tool, such as what they've done in the Bessemer Smelter District with the knocking down of the Convergence building and building back there. That's going to be a catalyst project that'll help start to revitalize that neighborhood and get some dollars set aside so that we can help do some good things in that area. Same thing with the Dillon urban renewal area. All that land over there by the mall and the Walmart on the north side, if it weren't for urban renewal helping with the funds that they're able to, I don't really think that land would ever been able to be developed. It was a floodplain. They had to move, I don't know how many tons of dirt, but let's just say a lot of tons of dirt had to get moved. And that's going to bring, a bunch of new development. I don't know exactly the number, but, it's probably going to be 15, 20 plus new businesses, whether it be restaurant, retail, office space, medical. There's going to be a lot of new things coming in there. So it's a great tool that can really help with blight and revitalization of an area and just kind of create some new projects. I'm also on planning and zoning. Okay. I just serve as the city council representative there. Planning and zoning is really interesting because you always kind of know what's going on in the city and what dirt's going to turn into before anybody else. So that's always fun. I get to tell everybody, like, hey, what's going on this area? I see people, putting up signs or moving dirt. And it's like, well, so that's kind of cool to know all the information about that. But it also is a huge responsibility because, just because one person says they're going to come in and build something, you got to think about the lifetime of the property.
Sure.
And just because one business owner is going to be a good business owner doesn't mean the next business owner that has the same use by right in a certain zone is going to keep it the same or, not do something that can be detrimental to the area. So you always got to think the big picture about that and all the different uses and the variances that could be allowed for a property. But like I said, you just got to make sure it makes sense to the area around it. And I think actually now, I think that's
Heart Foundation?
I am the Pura representative on the Heart Foundation. That will potentially change at the next election. We'll see if they still appoint me to that.
Sure.
But Heart Foundation, we just do the biggest part of the foundation compared to the regular board is their biggest focus is fundraising,
right?
Coordinating events, and the big exciting news that I already mentioned earlier was the boathouse. I believe the boathouse will be completed any minute now.
Yeah.
I know they were just waiting on the elevator.
It's being installed now. Yeah. It's actually here in Pueblo finally. We've been waiting for months, honestly, for that elevator, but it's finally in Pueblo and they're installing it. So that's exciting. That's
exciting for sure. I mean, it's going to be a great venue. I mean, I haven't got to tour it yet, but just looking at, the opportunity that brings, it's a nice facility. It overlooks the Riverwalk. It has great views. I just think it adds another bit of potential for that area. We can kind of leapfrog off of that with my festival idea. I think I know that the Harp will have a liquor license, so they'll be able to host festivals, and that's just some really exciting news. But I know they might be in a bit of a pinch, so fundraising is more important than this year than ever. Sure. So getting those festivals and kind of increasing their budget would be a great thing, and just to help them expand all the opportunities they can on the Riverwalk would be a great thing to do. That's another thing is a lot of people don't even understand all the different boards and commissions in the city.
That's why I wanted you to talk a little bit about it, because I think a lot of folks just think that you show up on Monday nights and then occasionally you show up for like a ribbon cutting or a speech or something, and then work your job, and that's it.
I promise there's a lot more to it than that.
Right.
On top of, my personal life and my job and things like that and the business, there's a lot more that I put into council than people realize. It's a lot more than just Monday night meetings. Right. It's, meeting with constituents, meeting with community partners, listening to issues, analyzing the problems, trying to come up with solutions, going to events. Sure, it's important for the city officials to show face at these events and show representation. But there's a lot more that goes into it, whether, it's the board meetings. I mean, there's so much. And, I don't think the community even knows all the different boards that are in the town. Or,
right.
We don't, always update the community enough on the boards we sit on. So I just hope that everybody takes those appointments seriously. It's important for the city to stay informed with these community partners, the boards, so that we know what they're doing, we have proper oversight, and we can help with the projects that they're working on. And also, it's an opportunity for the community to get involved. There's,
right.
Always a board opening every month, it seems like, and people can go online and apply themselves, and, it's a good place to start. I don't think jumping into a city council seat is the best idea for anybody without any prior experience. I mean, I did it, but, it is a huge learning curve. But if you don't want to do that, I think a good place to start is getting on a board or commission, so you can kind of learn some of the inner workings of, the city partners or the community partners, and kind of build from there.
That was comprehensive.
Always very comprehensive.
I don't think I realized you were going to go that deep, but I appreciate it. That's great. And Mayor, you attend most of these board meetings. I know you have a couple of seats as well. But even if you're not necessarily the city representative on a board or commission, you're pretty involved in all of them as well.
Yeah, especially the ones that the city has representation or should have representation on. I go to all the board meetings just so somebody is there on behalf of the city to either speak or to bring information back to the mayor or to the mayor, to
the mayor.
city
You're
council or city departments,
Sure.
just to make sure we have that communication back and forth, because the councilor's right. There's so many different boards, and they all intertwine in the city.
Right.
The Urban Renewal Authority, they're the only other board within our community that utilizes tax dollars. They spend money like city council spends money. We've given them that ability. So it's important to have representation there. The Harp, we have an IGA. They are not necessarily city employees, but we fund a good portion of their budget. It is a city asset. And then you have planning and all the other boards that
building, airport. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot
that intertwine at different levels. So it's important to have city council representation, city official representation on the boards.
That's great. Is there anything else, Councilor Boston, that you'd like to share with our listener about who you are or what your goals are, or how you'd like to represent the city?
I think I covered a lot of that stuff. I just think it's important for people to understand, again, that things take time. We're not going to agree on everything. But, this is a thankless job. All of us got involved because we care about our city. I'm sure the people that are mad or angry at me or at any other the elected officials, they have goals and aspirations too, and visions for the city. I think it's important that, you know, we stop being hostile towards each other because we all have a common goal. We just want Pueblo to reach the potential it has. And, you know, like I said, I'm 28. I started doing this when I was 25. You know, there's a lot of better things that I could be doing in life, you know, in some people's minds. But what I think is important is getting our city to reach the potential that it has. So, you know, I stepped into this role and, you know, at the grace of the citizens' vote and the appointment of the previous council. And it's just because I want to create change. So, you know, I think I had one of the other counselors tell me something that, you know, it's time that Pueblo starts saying yes and quit saying no. I think we need to be open to change. I think we need to do things differently because if what was happening for the last, you know, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years was working, I don't think Pueblo would have stayed as stagnant as it was. So I think people just need to stop with the hate, come to the table with ideas, be open to change, and let's work together to move Pueblo forward. Because at the end of the day, I think that's everybody's common goal is put Pueblo on the map for all the right reasons. You know, stop highlighting the bad stuff. You know, you don't have to repost every bad thing that happens in Pueblo and always talk about how bad it is. There's a lot of good things that happen in Pueblo too.
Yeah.
I think some of Pueblo's biggest haters are our own people. Because so many people that I talk to that have never lived in Pueblo or come here for the first time, they see the potential I see. They see how great the weather is. They see how great the food is. They see how great the community is. I mean, look how we rallied, you know, for SNAP. I mean, Pueblo has heart and soul. And I think it's time we stop beating each other up and start working together to reach our common goal. So that's just the biggest message I think we should portray. And it starts with leadership. So I hope, you know, all the leaders in the community, whether it be elected officials or, you know, just people that are in big community partners, they need to set the tone. We need to work together with everybody and just do what's the right thing and do what's best for Pueblo.
And behave.
How do you top that? And behave.
Just behave.
Okay.
That's my motto for 2026 is just behave, people.
Decorum.
Okay.
Decorum, decorum, decorum.
I think that's a good ending point. I like it. I do want to remind everyone one of our biggest events of the year. The city actually doesn't host a lot of events. We are participants in a lot of events, but we don't host a lot ourselves. But today is the State of the City. It will be at the Public Convention Center from 4:30 to 6:30. Mayor Graham, your address is at 5 p.m. It's open to the public. We have light refreshments, adults, kids, everyone. We want everyone to come. It'll be a new format. We hope that folks find it really engaging, and we're excited that people can interact with our city departments and learn more about what we do at the city. So I hope everyone can make it. And if you can't, you can also watch on our Facebook live stream for the mayor's address at 5 o'clock. Councilor Boston, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It was great to have you on, and we look forward to accomplishing some of those goals that you mentioned as well.
My pleasure to be here. And one more thing I didn't mention is I just hope to serve as a beacon of hope for more young people that want to get involved. You know, I'm only here because I spoke up. You know, I gave my opinion on issues in the community as a young individual, and my voice mattered. If you don't speak up, things don't get done. So be involved, speak up, get your voice heard, and don't be scared, because sometimes the youngest person in the room has the best ideas.
Well, and that's been your slogan, is be involved. And I think that's important for all of us. So thanks for reiterating that. That's great.
Of course.
Great. I'd like to remind our listener, you can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, and you can watch us on Channel 17. Remember, you can email us your topic suggestions or questions, mayor@pueblo.us. Oh, wait, I have one more question for both of you. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
I had to ask it because I knew what the answer was for both of you. So I knew we were going to... I knew you were going to agree. I will, for the record, say that Seattle's going to win. So I disagree with the two of you, but I knew you two agreed.
I'm just here for the food.
I'm all about it.
Maybe the boards.
And the boards.
I got like 7 squares.
And the boards, and the squares too. For
Lucy
sure.
has like 7 squares. I hope she'll share her winnings with me.
I
if
hope
she
so
wins.
too. She might just spend it all on dog treats.
Maybe.
Okay, well, that was a question from one of our listeners, actually. So thank you for sharing that you believe the Pats will win. I believe Seattle's going to win, so we'll see what happens on Sunday.
We'll put a gentleman's bet on it.
And thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next week.